What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPapa, and look at all that on this screen. Man, we got a ton of stuff to go through today, and I could not be more excited. Honestly, I couldn't. So we're going to look at the 12 sets from Sun and Moon that have booster boxes, and we're going to look at the top 20 cards from all 12 of those sets. Yes, we're going to look at 240 different cards, and we're going to see how they performed over the last 6 months. And I'm telling you right now, to all the videos that I've done, there is some incredible information in here, and I think this has fundamentally changed the way I'm going to approach some of my card purchases moving forward. There is just awesome macro level stuff here. And the reason that I decided to spin this up is because guess what? Sword and Shield is coming to an end. It's over, right? Now that the shiny Z and Z boxes are out for Crown Zenith, at the end of the day, there's no more releases. Now that doesn't mean there won't be restocks. It doesn't mean that there won't be tons of product available. But the Sword and Shield era is over, so we need to start understanding like what's our buying, what's our investing philosophy going to be moving forward for Sword and Shield now that that's come to an end, and now that Scarlet and Violet has kicked off. And I'm going to tell you right now the best way to do that, in my mind, is to look at how similar products have performed in the past, and that's what we're doing with Sun and Moon right now. And I'm telling you, tons of data here. I'm going to blow through some slides that have a whole lot of colors to it, but I promise you at the end, I'm going to go through some individual cards, and it is some really cool stuff to look at. Now, one piece of housekeeping. Listen, when we got to 1,000 subscribers, I let you guys know that we're doing a partnership with our local children's hospital, and we've grown so much since then. I want to do a quick recap. So at the end of the day, my oldest daughter was born at 1 pound 10 ounces. We spent about 100 days in the NICU, and then my second daughter was born at 2 pounds 11 ounces. Yes, we grow them small, and we spent about 100 days in the NICU then. And then my oldest daughter was snake bit again at 16 months old. She was diagnosed with stage 3 liver cancer, and no cancer diagnosis is easy, no journey is easy, but hers was particularly hard. It saw us go all over the place, all over the country. We finally ended up in Memphis, Tennessee at St. Jude's in Le Bonheur, where we found really the only surgeon in the country who would help take care of her, and he did. She's on the other side and everything is good. But we have had this deep conviction of giving back because it's just fundamental to what we do. We've been through so much. I can tell you as a parent, I have held my kid for days and days and days on end in a hospital. And when people come in and they give back, when people come in, somebody like me, you bring Pokemon cards, you bring a smile to your face. It doesn't just change the trajectory of the day. It can change the trajectory of the week. And I promise you, there's nothing more impactful than putting a smile on a kid's and a parent's face when they're going through something like that. So we have partnered with Arnold Palmer and Winnie Palmer Hospital in Orlando, Florida. And we have been invited to come to the Seacrest recording studio that they have there. We are going to do a huge giveaway, and I am sharing that with you because this is all because of you all. Now listen, my wife and I have purchased 80 of these deck boxes. We've purchased tons and tons of lots of V cards and VMAX cards off of eBay, and we're happy to do it. It's out of our own pockets, but we have done this because we feel like the PikaPikaPapa channel can grow. We've surrounded ourselves with such amazing people like yourselves. When I talk to Arnold and Winnie Palmer representatives, I say, listen, I am a nothing YouTube channel now, but I have such a great core base of supporters. I feel like we can grow this into something big, and I want this to be a partnership that we have for years and years to come. So every time you hit a thumbs up button, every time you drop a comment down below that helps the algorithm pick up this channel, you are supporting those kids, you are supporting us. If you haven't hit the subscriber button yet, it goes a long way in helping us out. I appreciate it. I don't want you to do any of those activities unless you find value in this channel, but if you do, just know that you are doing far more than just helping the PikaPikaPapa channel out. I have got permission from them. We're going to shoot some videos. It's going to be an awesome content. I can't wait to share that giveaway with you guys, and I want each and every one of you to know that you are a fundamental piece of making that happen. So from the bottom of our hearts, I just want to thank you again. Now that I'm off that soapbox, this is the data. This is what you're here for. Let's start looking at some cardboards, and as I said, there's going to be super data heavy in the front, and we're going to get into some details in the end, so I don't want you to get too caught up in this, but this is what I call my Technicolor dream code of Pokemon collecting awesomeness. And now I warehouse my own data. I know TCG Player shows you the last 12 months worth of data. I warehouse way beyond that. That was one of the things that I wanted to be different about in the Pokemon space. There's plenty of Pokemon influencers out there who will read charts to you, which was, when I was starting my research, I found that very boring. Like, I can read my own charts. What I wanted to do was provide a channel and provide value to you guys, where not only do we read charts, but we look for trends, we look for analysis, and we try and go a layer deeper. So that's why I warehouse my own data. This is the 12 sets from Sun and Moon with booster boxes and their top 20 pricing of their cards from 6 months ago. Now, this is what it looks like today. You will see the black boxes represent fundamental price changes. Now, what do I mean by that? I have these categorized. So green are cards that are worth $40 or more. Yellow are cards that are between $40 and $20. White are cards that are between $20 and $15. And red are cards that are less than $15. So look at those black boxes. When you come over here from 6 months ago, you look at a set like Cosmic Eclipse, and it was 60-40, right? 60% of the cards were yellow, 40% of the cards were green. Now you look at it in today's environment, it's really 80-20. 80% of the cards are green, and 20% of the cards cards are yellow, which is really interesting. So you see, again, we're going to talk about this, so I want to call it out early. You see the concentration of price changes on the left side of the graph, right? We all know the second half of Sword, Sun, and Moon was really, really hot, so we're going to see that. The other thing that I want to call out, and again, you guys don't need to dig deep down the rabbit hole, but if you look at the bottom, these are all the different data points that I look at every single month. So I look at the average of the top 20 cards. I actually look at the average of what I call the middle 16. So I take the 2 highest cards out and the 2 lowest cards out, because if you look at a set like Burning Shadows, right, you have that huge chase card, and then you have another card at $82, and then it really drops off. So I look at those middle 16 to see if there's any value in chasing that. And then I look at the average of the top 10 cards. I look at the booster box price changes. I look at all kinds of data. It gives me great video ideas for you guys. And again, I really want to give back. I want us all to play chess when everybody else is playing checkers. Looking at data like this helps me do that. Now, the next slide right here is just a different representation, right? The one before was vertical. This one is horizontal. But again, the thing that I want to call out here is that concentration in the upper left-hand corner. So the top graph there, those are the 12 sets, and those are the prices as of now. The bottom one down there, those are the prices from 6 months ago. Now, this isn't the cleanest way to look at it, but you can see, again, the concentration is in the upper left-hand corner. Now, this next slide is the one that I'm going to spend some time talking about because I think this is the best and the easiest way for us to digest this information. And this is going to formulate and this is going to help shape one of my investing strategies moving forward because I think this is really cool. It's given me some opportunity to see things that I haven't been able to see in the past. So this is what it looks like right here. Now, I'm going to take, like I said, a few minutes to go over this. So this is a heat map. Right? So these are all 12 sets, top 20 cards from each set, and basically all this does is map things out. So the brighter the green, the higher the price return. Red doesn't necessarily mean negative. You're going to see some reds at 6, some reds at +7, then you're also going to see some dark reds at -7, -5, -8, right? But what this does is this takes a huge amount of information, like all of these different price changes, and it allows us to digest it visually, which is easier than trying to read all of the numbers. Like this gives us, again, you'll see to the left-hand side of this and to the upper left-hand side, you see where it's the brightest green, so that's where we've seen the biggest price appreciation. Now, this is simply the slot. So the first most expensive card, second most expensive card, third most expensive card. You'll notice that I don't have card names associated with this, and I did that on purpose because I simply want to see how the cards perform as a whole without maybe some unintentional bias of me thinking, well, Charizards are going to do great, or Pikachus are going to do great, or Mewtwo's are going to do great, right? So this is just the card slot. So the first most expensive card, second most expensive card, third most expensive card. Now, when you look at the average price appreciation, I want to call something out too. I don't average averages. You should never average an average. If you are going to look at multiple different cards, you need to sum them and then do the average of that. So that's what we did here, because when you do an average of an average, it's not statistically relevant because there's different weights, or there's the same weight associated with different averages. So anyways, you don't want to do that, okay? So in this graph right here, you'll see that in the top 5 cards, they average the highest price growth, which might not be surprising to all of us. It didn't surprise me too much. But what was exciting to me was the fact that, hey, I don't have to buy the most expensive card in a set in order for me to have great price appreciation. Like I think a lot of times we feel like the big chase card is the only opportunity for us to see price growth. But in reality, if you look, the 5th most expensive card saw the same amount of price appreciation as the 2nd most expensive card. So again, playing chess when other people are playing checkers. Also, take a look at the line of delineation here. Really, the top 10 seem to grow more than the bottom 10. And also, the top 15 perform infinitely better than the bottom 5. So again, this is where we're starting to find trends. This is where we can look at current sets and we can look at the current top 20 cards in those sets and we can say, hey, maybe this is a buying opportunity. Maybe since Sun and Moon has performed this way, maybe some of these Sword and Shield sets will perform the same way as well. Again, now if you look across the bottom, you're going to see the average increase. So this is the average increase of the top 20 cards. Down at the very bottom, you're going to see the starting booster box rank. So what I did was I looked at the booster box prices from 6 months ago and I said, okay, which one was the most expensive? It was Team Up. Then I wanted to say, okay, Team Up started off the most expensive. How has it performed since then? So did the most expensive box see the most price appreciation? Or did we see the inverse? Did the least expensive box see the most price appreciation? Now, in this next slide, we're going to talk about that. But the interesting thing, again, look at the concentration of green on those boxes on the far left, right? The average increase for Cosmic Eclipse, Unified Minds, Unbroken Bonds, Team Up, 37%, 45%, 35%, 30%, right? So like these cards, these were also in the 1, 4, 2 booster box rank. So we're seeing some correlation between a high booster box price and a high degree of price appreciation, okay? But Where we see the inverse, and this is where we can play chess when other people play checkers, look at unbroken bonds. 13% to the negative booster box price appreciation, yet the average single price increase is up 35%. To me, if that doesn't scream buying opportunity, I don't know what does. So this is an awesome way for us to look at this information at a high level. Not only can we see what singles prices have done, not only can give this some directional information as to, hey, where should I buy my singles, but it also can give us some ideas of where some buying opportunities are in the booster box space. And in the very next slide, that's what we're going to talk out. So here, all I did was I sorted the different sets from top to bottom in their starting booster box rank. Then to the right, how much did their booster box gain over the last 6 months? Then how much did their top 20 gain over the last 6 months? And then you guys know that I think age is a really important thing. So I rank the age. Look at the top half versus the bottom half. Look at the starting booster box rank, top 6 versus bottom 6. Lots of green above that blue line, lots of red below that blue line. Now again, it's not uniform. Unbroken bonds sticks out like a sore thumb, right? Starting booster box price was 4. It's down 13%. It just, to me, when you see something like this, it's a buying opportunity. So unbroken bonds is certainly on my hit list. But then again, it adds some light to what we've been saying about the beginning sets from Scarlet and Violet. Okay, you look at Sun and Moon, you look at Guardians Rising, you look at Crimson Invasion, you look at some of these Burning Shadow sets, you look at some of these older sets, right? They just haven't performed that well over the last 6 months. Like they tend to be down here in the very, very bottom. So for me, this validates a little bit of what we say. Again, just because this is how Sun and Moon performed, it certainly doesn't mean this is how Sword and Shield is going to perform. But I guarantee you that having a fundamental understanding of this is very important if you want to play chess when everybody else is playing checkers, if you want to be ahead of the curve. Like again, I want to make sure that we use all this information, we use all this hard work to help us make good buying decisions because we all work hard for our money. Now, with that being said, I am going to get into some single cards right now, and the whole point of this is these are cards I never would have thought about buying, honest to God. Previously, I never would have thought about buying them. Now, when I see Sword and Shield sets or cards that look like this, maybe I'll pull the trigger. So, here's some examples. This Mega Sableye and Tyranitar, like maybe this is the 1 out of the 8 that we're going to look at that I would have pulled the trigger on simply because I think that this is an absolute gorgeous card. But when we think about the heavy hitters in the Pokemon space, Sableye and Tyranitar certainly aren't them, right? Yet this card has just crushed in volume. It is crushed. It's up 175%, right? It's still ranked number 3 in Unified Minds, but it is up 175%. Again, if we weren't focused in on the big names, if we weren't focused in on Pikachu and Charizard and all of these other things and we could see the forest through the trees, then maybe we would have seen this, and maybe in the future we'll identify some number 3 cards that might have flown under the radar that might give us awesome price appreciation like this. Energy Recycler. The other really cool thing for me when I was going through all this data is, I've told you before, I am not big into the playability of Pokemon. I'm a collector, I'm an investor, like I love Pokemon. We have Pokemon all over my house. We think it is the coolest thing since sliced bread. I just don't play the game. It doesn't mean that my value to the community is any less. I just don't play the game. So cards that affect gameplay really fly under the radar for me. But what I do know is when a card affects gameplay and people pile into it, they usually like the best variety that they can get. And this Energy Recycler, my assumption is this Energy Recycler is key to the game, like pivotal to the game, right? Look at the price appreciation. It's up 245% in the last 6 months. It went from 3rd place to 1st place in Forbidden Light. Now, again, another 3rd place card where I might have been not looking at it if I didn't have this kind of clairvoyancy, if I didn't have this kind of view moving forward. Like, this is a card I never would have put a nickel into. But now that I know this, maybe I'll find some Energy Recycler type cards that are ranked in the top 10, and I'll buy a couple of them, and maybe I'll be lucky and see this 245% price appreciation further down the road. Now, another couple cards that I wouldn't have thought of. Lily from Sun and Moon base set. Like we know Sun and Moon base set hasn't performed well. Maybe a lot of us were poo-pooing it, but hey, if we had known that over the past these top 10 cards perform really well, maybe we would have picked up a couple Lilies when they were low, just because, hey, even though Sun and Moon isn't performing well over the history, these top 10 cards tend to outperform, especially the top 5, especially the top 3. Maybe we would have added Lily to our collection, and maybe we would have seen some awesome price appreciation. Another one right here, the Escape Rope, right? Escape Rope's not on my radar. It never would have been on my radar, but look at those price appreciations. Again, a number 3 card I never would have thought about buying, but now if I see a card that's similar to this in the top 5, top 10, I guarantee you I will add some of them to my personal collection for a buy and hold perspective. Another couple cards, Slowpoke and Psyduck, right? Again, not huge name Pokemon, but look at this. It went from 5th to 3rd in Unified Minds, and that is because it is just absolutely a beautiful piece of artwork. It is up 105%. And again, maybe we would have been blinded. Maybe we would have been looking for the big names and we wouldn't have even noticed this. Pokegear 3.0, right? It's up 184%. It went from the 20th ranked card to the 11th ranked card. Again, would have flown under the radar. Now I'm going to be keeping an eye out for these. I think this has just been some incredible learnings. Another couple ones right here. Judge from Lost Thunder went from number 17 to number 7. Again, another top 20 card I wouldn't have had my eye on. And again, Gladion right here, number 6 to number 5, up 68%. I mean, the list goes on, to be honest with you. Like, this is just me scratching the surface of cards in these Sun and Moon sets in the top 20 that I never would have thought about. But now, as Sword and Shield starts to mature, as Sword and Shield starts to hit Sun and Moon maturity, I'm going to be looking for cards like this all day. A lot of these cards were in the $10 range, and man, if you could 2x, 3x your money, it is just absolute lunacy. So, I am very excited with this. I hope you guys find value in this as well. As always, listen, I hope you guys have an epic Sunday. I appreciate you more than you know. If you've made it all the way to the end of the video and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content. If you have a question or comment, drop it down below. I respond to all of them personally. I appreciate you more than you know, and you guys have an epic day. Thank you again.